On this episode of Hill City Happenings, we take a deep dive into water resources to learn more about the CSO project. Also, we take flight and reach new elevation with the Lynchburg Regional Airport and learn about possible expansion. Coming up next. I'm your host, Shaquille Cook, and this is Hill City Happenings. The Department of Water Resources does a lot for our community by providing clean drinking water for our citizens and so much more. And today, we get to learn about their new CSO project. Let's talk to Mr. Tim Mitchell to find out more information.
So Water Resources is a very big and complex department. We provide drinking water services, wastewater services, stormwater services. We also do a lot of community outreach and public engagement and public education on environmental issues and water quality issues. So we work with schools and colleges and universities. So we provide anything related to water we handle in Water Resources, but we provide excellent drinking water and excellent wastewater services and stormwater services to the citizens of Lynchburg. So we have two primary water sources, the Peddler Reservoir and the James River. Peddler Reservoir is what we use 95% of the time. It's an excellent source water. It's in the George Washington National Forest, so most of the watershed is protected. So we have high quality source water that we treat. And then it's treated by one of two different water treatment plants. We have a water plant in Bedford County that the city actually owns and maintains and operates, as well as the College Hill water treatment plant. And all the drinking water is treated to the same high quality standards, and we actually have received awards from the Virginia Department of Health for 17 consecutive years for excellent water quality that we treat our water to. The secondary source that we have is the James River, and it's great from the standpoint that it's almost drought proof. We essentially have an unlimited supply of water in Lynchburg, so we're very fortunate. And we can treat the James River water to the same high quality standards that we treat the Peddler water to. So it's treated the same way as the Peddler water. We have to use a little bit more chemicals to remove some of the solids and everything in the James River, but otherwise it's still excellent water, and we're very fortunate to have the two water sources that we do here in Lynchburg. So Water Resources, we have a team of utility line technicians. They're on call. We have a crew on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We also have a person that's on standby. So we're prepared to respond anytime, anywhere to an emergency, a water line break or sewer overflow or whatever the case may be. We have crews available 24/7 to do that. And typically, we have a lot of water line breaks in the wintertime when the water temperature is getting colder and the ground is freezing. And we have a lot of the freeze and thaw cycles, so that's when we have the majority of water line breaks. But they can happen anytime, so our crews are prepared to respond. And then we have a whole warehouse of parts and supplies and pipe fittings that here and available, so we have everything that we need to make any repairs necessary on our water system here already in stock and ready to go. CSO stands for Combined Sewer Overflow. So the city of Lynchburg, back in the mid-1800s, when they were constructed the sewer and stormwater system, is really state of the art. They combined the sewage and stormwater into one pipe, and then that pipe was discharged to the nearest water body, the nearest stream or the James River. And this was back before there were treatment plants. And the idea was to flush all the pollutants downstream away from the populated area as quickly as possible. But in the 1950s, when the wastewater treatment plant was built, We also constructed sewer interceptors. Those are large diameter lines that collect the smaller pipes in the neighborhoods and take the flow to the wastewater treatment plant. But during periods of heavy rainfall, those lines weren't large enough to carry the entire amount of flow. So in addition to that, overflow points were constructed. And originally there were 132 overflow points in the city. So really for the last 4 decades, the city has been working on eliminating those overflow points and eliminating raw sewage from going into the streams in the James River. And we've been very successful. To date, we've eliminated 93% of the volume of overflows and as well as reduced the number of overflow points from 132, the original overflow points, down to 17. So the next big project that we have is called the Blackwater CSO Tunnel. And basically it's a large diameter tunnel, 12 foot in diameter, that's almost a mile long. It runs from Point of Honor Trail, just downstream of Hollands Mill Road, down to the downtown area and the US Pipe parking lot area. And this project is over $100 million, but what it will do is collect and capture the combined sewage and stormwater into a large diameter pipe. So about 4 million gallons of storage will be available in this tunnel, that when we have a heavy rainfall, the sewage and stormwater will discharge into the tunnel, and then ultimately, after the rainfall passes, be pumped back into the sewer line to be treated at our water resource recovery facility, so that we can improve the water quality in the James River and Blackwater Creek. So it's a very important project. There's huge environmental benefits as well as capacity benefits for future development and growth in that watershed. So it's a very impactful project. It's going to be starting sometime after the first of the year. There's a lot of federal funding involved in the project too, which will help keep the cost of it down for the citizens of Lynchburg. But again, it will start sometime after the first of the year.
The Lynchburg Regional Airport has been working diligently to return services back to what they were prior to the pandemic, and has also been working to create a northern route. Let's talk to Mr. Andrew Legala to find out more information.
I'm glad you asked. So things are better since the pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, we were doing really well. We were averaging about 7 flights a day, most days. And with those 7 flights, we had consisted of the Embraer 145, which is a 50-seater. And then we also had the CR7 and the CR9, which were both dual cabin, which was first class in the main cabin. The CR7 was a 65-seater, and the CR9 was a 76-seater. So you could see we had a big span of different types of jets, all through American Airlines, which was their affiliate, Piedmont Airlines. So we had that prior to the pandemic. And then of course, when the pandemic hit, all airports lost a lot of service. And the goal now is just recovering everything back to where you had it at first, and then grow from there. So with that, we're back up to about 6 flights a day, most days, albeit it's with the 145 50-seater right now. We're still looking to get the dual cabin back here in Lynchburg. So that's on the air carrier side. When it comes to airport activity and the operations overall, we're doing really well. When it comes to the general aviation side of the airport, the Liberty University School of Aeronautics has an incredible, robust flight training program, FAA certified. So they've got a 4-year degree program to be a professional pilot. So with that, we've got that side of the airport really hopping really well. We've got capital development that's both underway and planned. So we have a whole bunch of things going on, all in all, over the airport in general. Economic development is a big driver for the airport. The airport is an economic impact. The airport's responsible for well over 618 total jobs, direct jobs, and also generates close to about $180 million in economic activity annually. So that's throughout the area. And that's a large economic driver as it relates to leisure and business travel. So with that, we're the only commercial service airport in the region and the surrounding 4 counties. Airline service in particular is a major component in attracting economic activity. So with that, within the region, and accessibility and connectivity nationally and internationally. That's what's really important, especially for jobs. So as I mentioned in the beginning, our biggest and most fundamental challenge right now is to return service back to the pre-pandemic levels, just like all airports, commercial service airports are in the country. You need to get back what you had. And while we're doing that, the whole market condition and travel environment has all changed with COVID. So the first thing we did about a year and a half, 2 years ago, was we updated our Air Service Development Program. And we did that in works with our Airport Commission. And with that, we basically brought together 2 strategic and specific air service development consultants. We targeted 2 of them specifically. One of them has a strong interest and an alliance with American Airlines. And for that reason, what we're trying to do is twofold. One, get back the service we had back up to the 7 flights a day, and back to the mix of aircraft that we had also, back to first class and main cabin. The other thing we're looking at doing is we're working closely with American to see if we can get a northern route. For instance, Chicago. We're trying to get a northern route. We don't know what that northern route is. We are pitching that to American for Chicago right now. It could be another destination, it could be Philly, we don't know that yet, but we're trying to pitch to American a northern destination because our southern routes all to Charlotte are doing very well. But the community wants to go north, they don't want to go south to go north. Completely understand that. So then it comes down to basically the assets, what the assets the airlines have for airplanes. And where they decide to put their airplanes is ultimately up to them. So our job is to pitch why we need northern service and why we want to get back to where we were before and how we can fill those airplanes. And that's where we have the Air Service Development Consultant helping us with American on that part. The second fold of that question is we also have an Air Service Development Consultant for low-cost carriers and ultra-low-cost carriers. For instance, we're looking at an ultra-low-cost carrier to a leisure destination, whether it be Orlando, Las Vegas, whatever that might be. But we do have a lot of people that travel out of Lynchburg that go to these destinations, whether it's out west or it's down south to Florida. So with that, we're pitching to an ultra low cost carrier, like they have at other airports in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And we just don't have those in this particular region right now. So I'm trying to capitalize on that with an ultra low cost carrier and that strategic air service development to see if we can get an ultra low cost carrier here as well to complement the service we have already with American. I can tell you that the community has done exceptionally well recovering back from the pandemic when it comes to air travel. They use their airport, the airline recognizes that they use their airport, and that's the reason why American's given us back the flights back to where we were, just about at pre-pandemic levels. So the community is using their airport and the airline is recognizing that and they're putting the assets into the community. So very pleased with that.
September is National Preparedness Month. When natural and man-made disasters strike, it is important to have a planned response when you're at work, on vacation, or on the road. Visit ready.gov/plan for more information. Well, that wraps up this episode. Till next time, I'm your host, Shaquille Cook, and this is Hill City Happenings.